Hello, this is Stephanie with Working Yarns, and today I'm here to talk to you a bit about choosing the right yarn for your project. Today we're going to talk about how even though yarns can be listed as the same weight, they're not necessarily all the same size. You've probably noticed on my patterns that I tell you exactly what type of yarn that I'm using and put a note on there that if you use a different type, you might end up with a different result. And here we're going to go and look at a little detail. On the left, we have the Cascade Yarns Elysion. This is the yarn that I use for my knitted slouchy hat. And then over here, we have the Woolies Worsted. And this is what I use for my crocheted slouchy hat and also for those little cup cozies. So these are both listed as worsted weight yarns, but you can already tell that there is a bit of a difference between the two of them. So I'm going to grab a strand from each and kind of show you up close that they're a little bit different from each other. And you can see that the Woolies is a bit thicker than the Elysion. Also, to the Elysion, the strands are a bit tighter and more dense, whereas on the Woolies, the strands are a bit fuller, and it's going to be a bit more cushy. So the Elysion, which gives you quite a nice drape, is kind of on the lighter side of worsted wools. It's a bit close to a DK, but a little bit too heavy to be DK. So let's take a look at the band and get a little bit more information. We've got 219 yards and 100 grams. And we can see that 20 stitches on size 7 needles, the recommended size, will give us about 4 inches. So this is important information when you're determining gauge. When you've got to make a garment, it's particularly important. Might be more or less so with a hat, just depending on the variation from the yarn that's called for. Let's take a look at the band on the Woolies. And here we've got the same information. This one is 3 ounces or 85 grams, and we're getting 197 yards. And if we go down here, we can see that they recommend a larger size needle than for the Elysion. This one recommends a size 8, and you're going to get 18 stitches for 4 inches on size 8. So if you were to use this for the knitted hat pattern, which calls for size 7 needles, you might end up with a slightly denser fabric, and you would end up with less drape and end up with something a bit more full, which is fine if that's what you want. You just need to be aware of what kind of yarn you're using so that you can know what result you'll get. You don't want to go and make your whole hat and then realize that it's not what you were hoping for. That'd be a little bit disappointing. So, I also, this Woolies, because it's a bit fluffier, the reason I use it on my slouchy crocheted beanie is because of that fullness. I like having the stitches fill in a little bit more. Sometimes with crochet, the stitches can be a bit more open and be a little bit more holy. If you really want to show off those stitches though and the holes and you like that look, you could make it with Elysion, and you would definitely show off those loops in your crochet work. So, yeah. difference between the woolies and the Elysian. And I said earlier that the Elysian is a bit closer to DK. Woolies, I'd say, is a bit on the heavier side, but not so far as an Aran weight, which would be the next weight up before you get to chunky yarn. Hopefully that has helped you a little bit in how to select your yarn for your next project. If you have any questions, go ahead and leave me a comment and I'll be sure to get back to you. Thanks so much and happy knitting!